All right, hey everybody, welcome to Roundtable Wrestling. It is May 10th,
Don't ask,
2017.
don't ask me. Last time, listen, man. When I left school, them dates don't is not important to me. I even forgot Mother's Day was on Sunday. I know I'm a piece of
Oh,
shit, but go ahead.
geez.
No, for real. I
Any
actually forgot it was Mother's Day also. I'm not even gonna lie, man. Somebody reminded me.
second
It's Mother's
weekend
Day
of
this
the
week.
month, boys. Second weekend of the month. Anyways, I'm Laura Phoenix, and that guy over there.
Which one?
Pick one.
The one, the only, the Byron from Queens, New York.
I am Big O from the Bronx. You dig?
Oh man. So, anyways, here we are, about a week away from Backlash, and it's kind of looking pathetic, ain't it, boys?
Oh man, listen. I don't know if you guys saw Monday, but I couldn't even bear to watch the whole show because it was really that bad.
The show wasn't good.
This is like I think the second week in a row that Raw has been really shitty. But this past Monday, it just wow. I just completely lost hope at Monday Night Raw.
Raw, that for second week in a row, I was watching TNA. Believe it or not, all right. So
I haven't.
that's how shitty it was. So which
well,
wasn't that bad of a show either. By the way, I have to throw that out there.
The thing is that that it's like they're trying stuff. They're trying something new with everything, and you can tell that. But it's not reflecting in the ratings at all because for the past, I think, month and a half, the ratings have just continuously plummeted. I think this week Raw drew a 1.6.
Oh.
And you know,
Raw,
and
man.
what's bad? And you know what's bad about that is that if you're putting on shitty fucking quality shows and you're trying to capture people to view your product, I don't know what the hell they're thinking by putting on the shows they've been putting on for the past 2 weeks. That's not going to help them. And on top of that, now I'm hearing that Braun Strowman, their top guy supposedly that was becoming a major deal there, is injured.
Mm-hmm.
So they have to now redo things. Yeah, but you know what? The thing is, they already had Braun Strowman ready to fight Roman Reigns at the next pay-per-view. I think is the Extreme Rules. He was going to fight him in an ambulance match, and after that, he was supposed to fight Brock Lesnar. So now all that is scrapped because they don't even.
No, it's not scrapped. They're actually saying that they haven't scrapped them from the pay-per-view yet for Brock Lesnar. That it he might make it. But
that's what I'm saying. He might not make it. So if you notice what they did on Raw, they pretty much kind of had him get injured in a way that he's off TV now. But it just kind of, they have to fix things. They have to change things around just because of that reason. So I don't know what they're thinking, but that was just a lead in into what's probably gonna happen on Monday night. Who's gonna feud now with Roman Reigns, and I have no idea what they're doing now. It's just looking really bad right now.
I didn't even know he was injured. I didn't even know he was injured until Raw hit air and he was out there wearing the sling, and I'm just like, what the hell just happened?
It's a little, like, I guess, cartilage injury of like the elbow.
But it's enough that he needs to have surgery.
Yeah.
But 4 weeks out is not really gonna make him or break him, to be honest with you. I mean, maybe scrap that one pay-per-view match for him.
But the thing is, he was this monster, right? And he got injured. Roman Reigns just took him out again, so that makes him not weak, but it just made him just got fucking taken out by Roman Reigns, a guy who he just took out. So now he's been taken out by Roman Reigns, and now he's not going to be able to fight Brock Lesnar, and that's a match that a lot of people were actually looking forward to.
Yeah, but so it's not like it's never going to happen. It could happen the next pay-per-view.
It could happen, but But the thing is, he was on a momentum. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes that momentum could really get shattered when things like this happen, because when he comes back, who the hell knows who's they're gonna put in his place? That guy could elevate himself.
There is not many options on Raw as of we speak. All right, literally, like I've sat down and I've been examining these characters, and they're just not doing nothing for me. You know what I'm saying?
When Roman had that build up and he had to step out when he had the hernia surgery. I don't know if you guys remember that. It was like 2-3 years ago. It was kind of what Byron was talking about was what he was thinking would happen with Strowman. But you brought up a great point. There's not really anybody that's going to replace that monster that Strowman has brought to to the whole table of everything.
Well, this could be a perfect way for Samoa Joe to actually elevate himself as the next monster, because that's what they wanted him to be.
I would love to see that.
Unstoppable guy.
But yeah, that's probably the only guy off the top of the head, to be honest with you. Other than that, there's really nobody else.
The only thing
and the only thing that scares me the most is you're gonna put Bray Wyatt in that position again to lose again. And I'm not in the mood to see Bray Wyatt in the main storyline, not for a long time anyway.
Well, that's a perfect guy right there that they don't know what they're doing with him on Raw, because they're just throwing him out there, and now he's I think feuding with Finn Balor, but they haven't really been on top of it like that. But they're building it up little by little. Mm-hmm. But I honestly, I don't know, man. I just feel like he was on a momentum, and that kind of pulls him back. You know, I'm sure he's still going to be there when he comes back, but you never know. Things could happen where they might have to call somebody from way back in the days and replace this guy, because they don't really have much going on Raw. The characters that they have there right now is very low. They don't have any really big top stars that SmackDown right now has all the guys.
Yeah, because they're doing a horrible job building up stars. I mean, let's be honest here. We got Miz against Dean Ambrose again. Like, let me tell you something. I complained about this a couple weeks ago, and literally it's really going forward. A SmackDown feud is going to end up on Raw now after this big shakeup. It makes no sense. It absolutely makes no sense.
I was just talking about this for the past 2 weeks, that Ambrose is the fucking comedy guy on that show, and the whole night, that's what he was doing. The whole freaking night.
And Laura, this is the John Moxley that you like. You like this interviewing in the background and acting like a corn boy. It's just I don't like the whole acting like a blonde like girl. I don't.
It's weird because it's for some reason the network's put a lot of focus on him lately. Sorry, excuse me. But they reran the Stone Cold interview with him again. I rewatched that. I think a lot of people should, because it's not as bad. Ambrose has always been this laid back guy, and you could tell Stone Cold was trying to get more out of him, but that's besides the point. I do enjoy what he does with the character. Do I wish that he would be an absolute insane monster beating the shit out of everybody? Yeah, of course. It's just. But at the same time, though, you could get lost doing that same shtick over and over again. So he's shaking things up. You can tell that.
And let me tell you something. Dean Ambrose, the way he acts on Raw and his dry comedy, to be honest with you, that's really him in real life. I've seen a couple of interviews from him, and he's he comes across like a guy who just smokes a lot of pot and just is running off one brain cell. I'm not even trying to be funny. He's really
he's always been a very laid back guy.
No, but we're talking about a airhead dude. I mean, it's hard to explain. You got to see his interviews.
Have you ever watched his You Shoot interview?
No, negative.
It's actually he's pretty much that same way, and there's times that he gets a little more zest into his into what he talks about, but the way he's been, it's he's always been just extremely laid back, unless he's in pure Mox mode, and then he's flying off the handle and all kinds of nuts. But that was CZW days. I'm not talking about kind of shit in the WWE he was doing in CZW.
I'm just talking.
Say, the hell, did that just break up on anybody else, or was that just me?
No, I think that was that was breaking up.
I'm breaking up? Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can hear you.
No, it's not about him being laid back. It's about just the way he answers the questions. It's he doesn't know how to answer questions. He's more I don't know. Yeah, maybe. You just got to see some of these interviews, and it's honestly, the character he plays to me is really him in real life. That's just how he really is. And that Stone Cold podcast just proved it. And I guess maybe Stone Cold just didn't like the fact that he wasn't very articulate what he was saying, and got frustrated with him. And that's just what he is. He's not a very articulate person when he talks.
All his words speak action-wise in the ring. He had a match against Bray. It was actually a good match.
But that was
for the first time in a while. No, they're on Raw. The main event was him and Bray Wyatt.
Yeah, but other than Bray Wyatt.
Yeah, but to be honest with you, like I said before, to be honest with you, these are matches that I really don't care about because Ambrose isn't that guy that I want to see at the moment, and I don't want to see him feuding with the same people over and over, especially the character that he's playing right now. To me, it's not really entertaining me. It's not really entertaining me. Like I said before, listen, he's funny, yes. But do I want to keep seeing him in this role? He's been doing this for fucking how many years now? The whole night they put him in this freaking skit of him being backstage, running the show. It was just too much. And this is why a lot of people really shitted on the show because what are we getting on this out of freaking watching this shit at the moment? Nothing really.
Stuff. And you know what WWE did that it really messed up was they, to me, in my personal opinion, I know it's only been 2 or 3 weeks from the shakeup, right? But The Miz, like, is it me or he just lost all the momentum he had from SmackDown? I mean, he was getting cheered. You know what I'm saying? The people were loving The Miz on SmackDown, and it's like when he came to Raw, it was almost like a reset. It's back to being regular, like, okay, whatever.
Well,
like he's not getting booed. He's not really getting popped like that. It's just whatever. It's The Miz all over again. You know what I mean? It's like he left SmackDown. All that hard work he put in now is gone. I don't feel it no more.
Well, that's due to the fact that as soon as he came back, on Raw, he went into a freaking feud with Dean Ambrose, and I think everybody looked at it. Yeah, but everybody looked at it as like, but wait a minute, we just saw this on SmackDown. Why are we watching this again? So it's like that little thing could really trigger people not wanting to give a shit about a character. The littlest things could trigger that. Just like what they're doing with Nakamura on SmackDown. Look, Nakamura is over. He's over as Rover, right? But the thing is, look, for the past couple of weeks, we've been watching the same exact thing. Him interacting with Ziggler.
But they're still going ape shit for it, though.
They're going ape shit. Listen to it. Like he said, it's the same segment. Dolph Ziggler says a bunch of corny things, and then Nakamura goes, "You asshole," and that's it. It's like he's not saying nothing else. There's no.
All right. Hang on a second. I think, Byron, do we have a caller? There's somebody calling in.
We're getting a call. Hold on. We got a call? Hello.
Hey, what's up?
Hello.
What's this? State your name, boy.
I was gonna say I recognize that voice.
I'm Joey from the Bronx.
Hey, hello, Joey from the Bronx.
You guys are my favorite show.
All right. Okay,
I listen to you guys every week. Oh, all right. You guys are not my favorite show anymore.
What's up, man? How you been, man? How's everything?
I'm good.
How's the retirement life?
Apparently not great because I'm here.
Let's say, you missed us that much already.
I know. I watched SmackDown and I just had that itch and I had to scratch it. I know. I'm ashamed of myself.
Listen, man. When we're wrestling fans, we have something to talk about.
It's the same way with wrestlers. You can step away from the ring and still want to come back as
I understand that, man.
What SmackDown did it? What part of SmackDown did it for you? That you needed to come out of retirement after 7 days, 7 hard days.
The beginning with Ginger, no personality, no charisma, Mahal.
Yes.
Walking down the aisle. I look, man. I understand what people are saying about Ginger, and I know I'm going to say his name wrong, but I don't know how to say it the other way. But and I'm not trying to be funny, by the way. That's how I say it. But when this is a guy that has a title shot. This was a guy that was fired, right, at some point in his career. Then he went in 3MB. Now he has this incredible opportunity. He's fighting. You can say what you want about Randy Orton, but the guy's a modern day legend. So it's a massive opportunity for this guy. I think he should be doing more with, grabbing it by the throat. I don't see it from him. I really don't. Like he came down the aisle. He was robotic and mundane, and I'm gonna eat. Oh, and by the way, so scripted. I mean, we know that they're scripted, but when you sound scripted, that's a bad thing, in my opinion. I'm gonna get you, Randy, at Backlash. It's like, dude, put some passion.
No, and you know what? And you know what, Joey? I agree with you on that. Like, listen, I'm into Ginger, whatever the fuck his name is. I'm into him because, listen, or Hinder, whatever. I'm into it because of the fact that he, like I said before, and I think O said it also, he looks like a bad guy. He looks like a badass. His face, his expression on his face looks like you don't want to fuck with this guy. Especially when he got a roadmap all over his body and shit.
Exactly.
He looks intimidating. But the thing is, you're right about that. He came out and he was very like, "Hello, Randy. Yeah. My name is Jinder.
And I'm going to pray to Achman Nech. He started talking.
Yeah, but the thing is, he didn't have that. Yeah, he didn't have that like really going at it with Randy. Like he really means it. And he you know what I'm saying? It was very like I'm bored to be here.
Like a star.
Hold on, he sounded like he was just bored. He sounded like he was bored going down the aisle with the microphone in his hand. That's what he sounded like.
You gotta give him some time. When was the last time, or was there any time that Jinder Mahal ever had a spot like this?
I don't need time to know that's how he's gonna be. I don't need time.
But it's only been one time though. Like lately, I felt like he's been doing a pretty good job as a heel. Yes, it was no. I'm talking about as far as for like, you know, what he's been doing, the expressions, him stealing the title, holding it in the limo. I understand on Tuesday it didn't come across well, but give him a little time. So far, it's only been one time.
But let me just say something about that real quick. He doesn't have time. Okay, he has a pay-per-view in a week or whatever, 2 weeks or whatever.
I was gonna say it's the 21st, so you're talking less than 2 weeks time now.
That's not a lot of time. The time that he has was yesterday. That's his time. That's what you do with your time.
And you also have to understand.
If you don't grab it by the throat now, it's over.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, if I was him, I'd be like, wow, I have this fucking chance at Randy Orton. I'm on a pay-per-view. Like, I'm making the most out of that.
You know, you also have to understand.
Like what Austin said about Ambrose.
Yeah, he's been in the company for how long? He should know this shit already.
Exactly.
And on top of that, he sounded like he was sick. Like he was out there with a flu. And
he's been in the company for a long time. Yes, he's been in 3MP. Oh, come on. He was the great Ali's brother-in-law, for God's sakes. I mean, he didn't have much.
Even more of a reason why he should, like Byron just said, he's been there for a long time. You know, minus the firing. He's been there for a lot of years, a lot longer than a lot of people. So if he should know even more that if you have this kind of a shot, like, dude, come on, man. Like, in 2 weeks, if he doesn't, he's going to elevate his game next week? I mean, that's it. He's going to get another pay-per-view shot, dude. I can tell you that right now.
I will say that if he flops with this pay-per-view, it's over for him. I'm not going to say he's going down to the being a jobber again, but he's definitely never going to see that world title fight in a long time.
And you know what makes it worse is that I don't know why they did this. I mean, other than setting up the main event of last night, but what made it worse is that AJ Styles comes out there and blows every fucking person out of water.
Yes.
Yep. And to me as a viewer, I'm like, why is Jinder Mahal in the main event and not AJ? You know what I mean? Like AJ comes out there, and by the way, thank God he's the same AJ. Thank God.
Yeah, but you know what? Watching AJ do that promo, it only told me, okay, he is definitely gonna win the belt right after Mahal fails. I said it to myself, and I feel that AJ is gonna get that title sooner than later.
AJ's gonna get the belt, not yet though. I think like I said before, they're having
it's gonna be around SummerSlam. It has to be.
Yeah, but they wanting him to feud with Nakamura, so that who knows if it's gonna be for the belt, but I know that's their plan for him to face him at WrestleMania.
Did you hear?
Yeah, that's a year, but you're talking almost like a whole year of build up that you can go with that, and you still don't know what's going to happen all between that. As people can get injured, people can get fired, suspended, the whole 9 yards. So, but I think there's still time to build AJ and Nakamura for Mania.
Yeah, by the way, and then the other thing is AJ, even in the United Kingdom, which is where they were, is still getting he's getting louder pops than Randy Orton, the champion, then Owens, then certainly Mahal.
And Owens did a great job. Owens did a great job.
But AJ, he's still like, he's a god when he comes up.
Just to let you know, there was a lot of reports coming out from the time that everything was recorded over in London to when we saw it over here in the States. There was like editing, massive editing. I mean, for God's sakes, they were going after JBL like crazy on SmackDown.
Yeah, but Laura, even if there was editing, you could see they can't edit the what you can see. You know what I mean? And when AJ came out there, you could see it. You could see the crowd react. You know, and
well,
I don't know.
They didn't edit AJ out,
right.
And you could still hear the reaction for Kevin. I still think that people are not sold on Randy Orton being champion again, and I don't think they're sold on Jinder being a challenger. It's just odd to them.
They
hate him.
You can't just take a jobber who's been a jobber most of his career and then say he's the number one contender for the title that Bruno Sammartino had. You can't do it. I'm sorry, it doesn't work like that. At least to the fans, I should say. You know, you could do it. Of course, they could do it, but you can't make millions of people buy into someone who they have seen lose every match that you can possibly imagine. You know, and then expect that person to beat Randy Orton. I mean, let's be realistic here. You know, but again,
I think everybody's cheering. I think everybody's hoping for that fact, but I don't think it's going to happen. The WWE has done crazier shit, but
mostly because they don't like Randy Orton. That's not a good reason to give Mahal the belt, you know. But you know, listen. If I'm wrong,
but come on, let's be honest here. Randy Orton is not the saving grace of this title, man. I mean, his run is boring. That's what I'm saying. Is boring. I mean,
but that's what I'm saying. That's why people are kind of sort of with Mahal. It's not because Mahal's so great. It's because they don't really buy into Randy Orton as much, and that's not a good reason.
It's bad when the secondary titles on each brand, which is the IC and the United States belts, are more over than the World Championship belt.
So what's the worst case scenario? You take it off one guy who has no personality to give it to another guy who got no personality. It's all going to be the same thing. I mean,
no, right? The worst case scenario is that they hold it until AJ can get it. That's the worst case scenario.
And no, that's going to be the best case scenario.
Right.
I can't wait to fucking AJ.
No, I'm saying that's the worst case for Mahal.
You know, I honestly, when AJ held that belt, I think you said it best, that he was like, this is the first time they ever had a champion that's a real wrestler. Like he's actually good, and he can hold his own in every way possible. So but now we got Orton that's not really, and I've always hated Orton when it comes to promos,
right?
Because he's very real robotic. He's like, and I'm gonna come out there next week. Give you an RK. Oh,
he's like Roman in the ring. He could get it done. Like he could get it done.
Yeah. But you have to have that package.
Man. No, he could get it done. But he could get it done with against certain people, because if you, God forbid, if you put him against Bray Wyatt again, it's gonna stink up the place, or Triple H.
No, so they knew they fucked up. They knew that they fucked up with that. It's already stated that they look. I don't know if you guys. I know you don't watch too much of the network stuff, but
this is Byron. I'm glad you brought that up, because that's the other reason I called in, was because of what you were to say.
Yeah, they actually were talking about a lot of those things that everybody's basically talking about. How people hate certain things. That's what's going on. They actually bring that up.
That JBL show Monday. They brought it back to that original episode where they were brutally honest on that show. This week they were really honest.
Bring it to the table, right?
Yeah, loved it. I absolutely loved it. JBL, who is getting scorned online because he said he'd rather get captured by ISIS than have dinner with Sami Zayn, which is a fucking funny ass line if you ask me. I don't know if
I'm not gonna lie, I snickered at it, but it's just I'm like, the more I think about it, the more I'm like, man, that's crossing the major fucking line there.
It depends. I mean, I don't think words or speech ever. I don't think there is such a thing as crossing the line when you have a president who says whatever the fuck he wants.
It's true.
But JBL, they talked about the House of Horrors. They talked about I forgot what else they talked about that I wanted to talk about. Now I can't remember. Fuck. But
they did bring up. They did talk about the shake up. I do remember.
Oh
that.
Yes, they did. They talked about the shakeup, and they said something that Byron's been saying. Corey Gray. By the way, Corey Gray is my favorite guy. Just period. He's also, to me, he's the most honest because he talks like a fan. Even though he's a wrestler, but he talks like a fan. And he talked about how he wanted to see Charlotte and Alexa Bliss, square off, but now they're on separate shows.
I wish they had done this.
And they were talking about Alexa Bliss and how she's like Kurt Angle, the female Kurt Angle, where she's picked up wrestling really fast.
By the way, I was going to say it's not that far off from the truth there.
No. That's what they said. That's what they said.
For the women's division, yes. Because
she's not such a great wrestler. She's going all about her charisma and her attitude and her promo. That's really about it.
She has the whole package, man. She has the whole package. She could wrestle in the ring, even if you don't.
She can wrestle okay. She's not.
Listen,
to compare her to Kurt Angle, that's a big comparison.
No. I don't think they made that.
They're just saying that she picked it up really quick. Is what they're saying.
And she, listen, I've seen her matches. She does a good job. I don't think she's had like a really boring match unless it's somebody that doesn't know how to wrestle.
That's true.
Maybe, that's understandable.
I agree.
But
I agree. I disagree with you. I think she is good in the ring. I don't think she's Charlotte, but she's good in the ring for sure. Corey Grace.
Speaking of Charlotte, go ahead.
No, Corey Grace said that that Alexa. I forgot. It wasn't Corey specifically that said it, but somebody said, she's better than all four of the four horsewomen, and that's where I thought they went a little far. Alexa is good, but to say that she's better than Becky, Charlotte, Sasha, and Bayley, combined. I think that's too much. That's too much.
That's stretching it a bit.
Hold on, who said that?
I don't know about.
I forgot who said it, but they brought it up.
Who's the girl that's like Sheamus? The female. I forgot her name. Becky, right?
Lynch.
Becky Lynch.
When I first saw her, I thought she was cool. I think she had that real cool attitude. But I haven't really paid any mind to her because I've lost interest in her. Like a lot.
She's also barely been on up until just recently. They kind of put her on the sidelines when when everything started picking up. It was just.
Let's be honest here. Becky Lynch is the new Tito Santana. I mean, honestly, she's like the mid Carter. Like she's losing almost every match. It's just not the same. I don't know what happened. Who in the back actually said, "Hey, let's demote."
I don't know. I don't know if you remember, but wasn't there a thing about somebody not liking her accent? And ever since that point, she went downhill.
It's sad, man, because she's a really good worker. But
yeah, you know who it was? Sean fucking Dunn, bastard.
She's taking the back door to a lot of females that don't even deserve it. To be honest with you,
and she's taking a lot of the back door.
Yeah, Naomi, who's in a higher position than Becky Lynch, and that's saying something because Naomi is horrible. Her personality is bad. Her wrestling skills is pretty good. She's really athletic, but her personality sucks.
Let me ask you something. Do you think Naomi's better as a wrestler than Alexa?
Yeah, of course.
Come on, dude. Really?
As a wrestler, 10 times better than Alexa Bliss.
Wow. Really?
But Alexa Bliss, she has it because of the personality.
Wait, what did you ask him? What did you ask him?
I asked him if Naomi was better than Alexa. He said 10 times better.
What?
As a wrestler,
as a wrestler,
yes, she is. I'm talking about as a wrestler, not as a whole superstar. I'm not talking about as a whole superstar.
I know what you're talking about, and I'm saying, dude, come on. Really?
She's not better than her at all.
Wait. What does Alexa Bliss do in that ring that makes you, that wows you, that puts you
in awe? She has good matches, bro. She has good matches.
Hold on. Big O.
That's me. I'm Big O.
I know, but saying it sounds weird.
Yeah, I never called him that, but no homo. Oh, let me ask you something.
Right?
A dude should not be calling another dude big, whatever.
Yeah, so no homo. But let me ask you something. First of all, you told me yourself, and I think you told everybody actually, that you weren't really feeling Naomi, right?
I'm not feeling Naomi. I'm not. I'm talking about.
But you have been at least. You could sit there. You could at least watch Alexa Bliss wrestle. You could sit there and listen to her speak into that mic. When Naomi's out there, you weren't really bothering it. Like,
but I'm talking about Alexa Bliss is a better superstar all around, right? Okay. Naomi's a better wrestler. That's what I'm saying. As a real wrestler, more athleticism. She got moves than her.
She's more athletic. Yes, she's more athletic.
That's pushing it a little bit from. I would say that's pushing it.
Yeah, even athletically, I don't know. I'm sorry.
What was you gonna say, bro?
I have all kinds of respect for Naomi as far as like her where she came from. She was a dancer. Now she can go in there and have, semi-decent matches with these girls who were, have been strict wrestling, girls like Becky and girls like Natalya. She could do that kind of shit. But like I said, with Alexa took to it like fish in water. She's very much, and I hate to say it, I actually kind of agree with him in the aspect of the Kurt Angle thing. Kurt Angle was not a professional wrestler. He was a regular collegiate wrestler.
Naomi, but I'm not making it seem like Naomi's such a great wrestler. I'm just saying all around. I think Alexa could get better. I'm pretty sure in the next year or two she will be better than Naomi. But as of right now, I feel like.
But if you're saying that Naomi's not that great of a wrestler, and you're still saying Naomi's 10 times better than Alexa, then what does that make Alexa?
All right, maybe I say 10 times. Maybe if I said 10 times, then maybe I was over exaggerating. But I think she is slightly better.
I think I know what O is trying to say. I think what O is trying to say is that Naomi is good. The only thing she's good better than Alexa is her jumping higher than Alexa. I think that's it. Other than that, nothing else. I don't see her being better than
as athleticism. She has more moves than Alexa Bliss.
But Alexa Bliss is a gymnast. Yeah, that's what I was saying. She does do all the same things. So, but I think she has more ups than Alexa though. I think that's what you mean.
No, right? He's actually saying that she's a better wrestler.
Then you're wrong. You're wrong.
Hold up, but not by a lot though. I'm not saying that like she's
by a lot. I'm telling you by a lot.
I don't know. I mean, listen, I was with O like a couple of months ago. I would have probably sworn up and down that Naomi was better in the ring, but not. I don't know, man. Alexa has taken to wrestling unlike we've ever seen.
You got Alexa Bliss better though.
The last time I saw this. And guys, the last time I saw this kind of thing happen, his name is Alex Shelley.
Right.
I shit you not. Alex is just like that.
You got to understand, Kurt Angle, not only was he not, a pro wrestler or whatever, but he also didn't like pro wrestling. That's the other thing. Alexa Bliss also didn't grow up watching wrestling. Corey Graves, actually, that's the other thing I wanted to say, that he actually talked about that. Like, he said that he used to have a mentality that people that, like Goldberg, who is in the same position, that they didn't treat them very well in the locker room, basically. But he said that whole mentality has changed now. If you could find your passion and love, then he said he'll respect you. And he says that's for sure with Alexa. Like, she's taken to it, and now she's knee deep in it. She might have not grown up in it, but she's just as much in love with it now as anybody who did grow up with it. So, but what the crazy part, by the way, is that she could get better. Like, she's only started.
But I've been feeling this chick for the longest. I've said it a long time ago that I thought she was basically as even as Charlotte was, because I always compare them. Like, if they were both to be on the same show, I think a back and forth mic work thing would be fucking great. I think a ring action would be great. I think they would just be basically maybe Charlotte a little bit more than she, wrestling wise, but I think we would get something really spectacular out of both of them if they were to get in that ring together.
And by the way, just to defend Becky for a second, the only reason why Alexa has surpassed Becky is opportunity. That's the only reason. We probably would be saying this about Becky if she.
No, I was comparing her and Naomi. Why is Naomi in a higher pedestal than fucking Becky Lynch?
That's
man?
What I'm saying.
Becky Lynch is way more entertaining than her.
I'm saying people have like turned their opinions around on Becky. It's not Becky. She didn't just all of a sudden suck. It's just that she hasn't been given the opportunities that the other girls have been given. You know, they have this fucking thing called the welcoming committee or whatever the fuck it's called on Smackdown, and Becky is just not in any of the pictures, you know, in terms of the storylines. So Becky seems like she sucks because she's not on television. She's not being given the opportunities. But Becky is a girl that can kill it.
But she's starting to now.
Oh.
If you want the whole the welcoming committee thing.
Okay.
That's starting to make it.
I don't like people like, oh, Becky sucks now. No, she doesn't suck. She didn't lose her abilities.
I love Becky. I miss seeing her.
I'm saying the internet. You know, if they don't see you on TV, then all of a sudden you start get this reputation that you suck, and it'd be like Kurt Angle when he was wrestling in the WWE in the early 2000s. If he wasn't on TV, people would be like, well, you know, I don't think Kurt Angle's as good as he used to be. Well, he's not on TV. You know, Kurt Angle didn't lose his abilities. Becky Lynch didn't lose her abilities. It's just that they went with Alexa Bliss. They went with Charlotte, you know, instead of the girls. And by the way, you know, what I fear is that some people that were in the picture are now overshadowed by some people. And by the way, another defense of two people, Dean Ambrose, number one. The one thing I like about Dean Ambrose and his situation is that the Intercontinental title, not Dean Ambrose,
not being defended.
No, the Intercontinental title is the main title now on Raw, and it's now.
And they made the fact of that. They were slamming that home this week.
Wait. But wait a second. Is that due to the fact that Brock Lesnar isn't there? Right. Is that the reason? Yeah. Right. That's the reason. That's the reason.
But whatever the reason, the Intercontinental title is now getting the allure that it used to have.
Right. But I wish they would do that even if the WWE champion is still around. I don't know why they would have to wait until a situation like this has happened.
And the other person I have to defend something else that they talked about on the Bring It to the Table, which was Nakamura. Nakamura, you know, I don't know what you want him to do. You know, what would make you happy? But
it's not him.
I understand.
It's the way they're building these segments with him and Dolph Ziggler. I mean, you know, why in 2 or 3 weeks in a row does Dolph Ziggler got to say a bunch of corny things and say the same thing? Mind you, he hasn't wrestled. And then Nakamura comes and says one word, and that's it. And they think that's a segment. And this is 3 weeks in a row.
Right, I agree with that. That I agree with, but I think what they said, you know, about Nakamura is that he's the Conor McGregor of WWE. You don't see
I love that comparison.
You don't see him.
Conor McGregor of WWE. Conor McGregor talks shit. He can talk English.
Right.
He is not.
Nakamura is better grip on English than most of us do.
What they were trying to say is that Conor McGregor doesn't fight on Wednesday and then fight on Thursday and then fight on Friday. What I'm saying is when you see Nakamura at Backlash, it'll be something to see. You don't see it anywhere else.
Wait, I'm going to tell you something about the Conor McGregor comparison. First of all, I'm going to disagree on them saying that because of the fact that he hasn't really put asses in seats yet. As far as I know, he hasn't gotten into he hasn't gotten into a pay-per-view yet for them to even state something like that. You understand what I'm saying? When he does that, when you know for sure he's the guy who's getting the asses in those seats, then you could compare him to Conor, because Conor is that guy that everybody goes to see, and he sells out the pay-per-views himself.
And Conor is so good on the mic, man. Conor is so good on the mic. There's no way you can't compare that.
Okay, dude. Again, they're not comparing mic work. You're not understanding.
I think honestly, NXT was selling out on its own, not just because of Nakamura himself. Right. You get what I'm saying? I think Nakamura still has a long way on the main roster. Just the way they're booking certain things with him coming out there and just doing the same exact shit. I think they could have switched it up and do something differently. Not doing him coming out dancing for 10 minutes or whatever, then go into the ring, listen to Zach
Dolph Ziggler.
Yeah, and say whatever he said last week, 2 weeks ago, and it's the same segment. I just watched it 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago.
Okay, two things about that real quick. Number one is if you don't see the sunrise every day, you know the sun rises, right?
Yeah.
So you don't need to have Nakamura prove that he's gonna put asses in seats, dude. The guy, if the pay per view,
I'm gonna disagree on that, man. I'm gonna disagree on.
But if the pay per view was solely built on a person on that SmackDown roster, with the exception of AJ, Nakamura is that guy that can do it. Just saying.
That's because WWE is having that belief that he's that guy because he's
going to do it.
Just because he's being chanted and just because people are singing his song and all that.
I don't think you understand.
It's understandable that he's over.
Right.
But let's be serious. They think freaking Roman Reigns is the that he's over.
No, the same fucking shit that happened with Daniel Bryan.
No. Wait. The Roman Reigns thing is a little bit different. They know what the situation is with Roman Reigns. They still feel that he's the guy.
How many times have they put him on a pay-per-view poster face? It's just him alone, and he's not the guy who's really selling the fucking.
By the way, Nakamura did sell out NXT shows. I don't know if you know that.
How do we know this though? I don't know this
because we read the numbers. That's how we know.
Okay, but that's what I said. Now, if he did sell out on NXT, okay, that's NXT. That's a different story. But it's a different audience, and we know this. We should know this already.
But Byron, with the exception of AJ, you telling me that there's anybody else on that roster that would sell tickets? That would actually sell tickets?
I don't think the match that he has against Ziggler is a big enough reason for them to say, yeah, this is going to sell out the pay-per-view.
Right, but Corey Graves brought up a good point. The people that watch NXT is a very small niche, right? You cannot put Nakamura right out of the gate because we know who Nakamura is, because Japanese people know who Nakamura is. You can't put him in the main event picture. Trust me, WWE I'm sure is dying to.
I know that, and I agree with. I agree the way they're handling it. I don't disagree. I just think that just him doing the same thing for the past 4 weeks is kind of
it's not him doing the same thing. It's just the segment. His segment is exactly the same thing.
But that's what I'm saying. I think switching things around, maybe him coming out of the backstage area, doing an interview, and Ziggler's backstage. They do something backstage, or him at a McDonald's or something. I don't fucking know.
Listen, Ziggler is not the saving grace of this angle. I'm not making it seem like he's so great either. Because honestly, he's just as bad as. And I'm not saying Nakamura is bad, but he's just as fault of this segment flopping as Nakamura is.
And I agree on that. I agree on that too. It's not. I'm not even blaming it on Nakamura. I'm not blaming it on Nakamura.
But you're saying that the segment flopped. Who said the segment flopped?
Not flop. It's just 2 or 3 weeks in a row the same thing. I mean, listen. If you read online, a lot of people are saying the same thing we're saying. You know, you have the 2 or 3 weeks in a row the same thing, and it's just blah. Like
that I agree with, but I disagree with the fact that Nakamura could not sell a show by himself. I think he could. Absolutely.
I could only go with what will be.
And by the way, they do separate shows. So who do you think they're paying to see? Is what
you brought up a guy's name, which was AJ Styles, also. So
yeah, but what I'm saying is, you have to, except for AJ, who else would you pay to see on SmackDown? Nobody.
Me personally. I'm not right now. See, that's the thing. I like Nakamura. I do like him. I'm a fan of his. But I still say that AJ's still the man there. I still want to see AJ more than I want to see fucking Nakamura. I'm being honest. I'm just being honest.
That's definitely me too.
And I agree with you. What I'm saying is that if you took AJ out of the equation, there's not anybody on that roster that people would literally pay money to see. I do believe 100% that people would pay money to see Nakamura.
Okay. Well,
I'm like, I'll give you an example. If they came to Madison Square Garden, SmackDown, if they came to Madison Square Garden and they said AJ is injured, but Nakamura is going to be there. I'm fucking there. I'm there
right
at that. What I'm saying is that I know that there's more people that feel that way, and I know that if Nakamura had to put the show ticket sales on his back, he would do it in a heartbeat. He would do it.
I'm just saying, I don't agree with that yet. Is what I'm saying with the whole Conor McGregor, because he hasn't even been on a pay-per-view for the main roster yet.
Right, but what Corey was trying to say is that it's a special attract because people
a special attraction. Yes, I agree.
People were saying that people were complaining, I should say, that he hasn't wrestled. And
no,
Corey
he's better like that.
And Corey was, like but that's what he was saying. Like he was saying that why would you have Nakamura just right out of the gate wrestle, take that specialty away? You know, he's and JBL said it too. By the way, it's not like, and I could tell that they were being genuine. You know, if you have to wait till Backlash, the interest or even if it's a Ziggler match, and let's be real, that's not the best match you can come up with for Nakamura, but based on what they have to work with, you're not going to put him in there with AJ Styles right off the gate.
And I think that's a perfect match for Nakamura to come out to be honest with you. I mean, that's a perfect. Yeah, but I think that's a perfect stepping stone for Nakamura. It's going to be a real solid match. It's going to be a really good match, actually, and it showcases skills in the main roster. I think it's a perfect match.
That's what Corey was just trying to say. Like, it's a special attract. Nakamura is a modern day guy on the roster that is not Brock Lesnar or Goldberg. That he's a special attraction. Name another modern day wrestler that can be a special attraction. Nobody.
No, and I don't disagree with any of the stuff that you said and what they're saying.
It shows you the stock that they have in him.
No, but I think they're doing the right thing by not having him wrestle. That's for sure. Because you want to have that interest
here and there.
You want to have the audience interest to pay to watch Nakamura actually get in the ring and fight somebody on the main roster. Right. And I understand that. I'm just saying that they could have switched up the segments.
Do a little
bit differently every week. Try to build it up.
By the way, I would pay money to see Nakamura at McDonald's.
Yeah, ordering a Big Mac and next thing you know, Ziggler comes out from behind her. Hey.
I don't know if it's a healthy message, but
But you get what I'm saying.
I get what you're saying, but I disagree 100% about Nakamura not being able to sell shows. I think he would be.
The thing is, I don't know. I don't know if he will or not. I can't honestly say that yet. I'm only gonna wait to see what the numbers are, and if this is 100% accurate, where he's actually putting the asses in those seats on the main roster.
What we do
when I see that, and when I really see that, I'll say, okay, that's true.
The only way that we can measure that, by the way, is house shows, because you can't ever say Nakamura sold SmackDown because you still have AJ, you still have Kevin Owens. There's no way to measure that. It's not the Hogan days.
Let me ask you something. No. But wait, let me ask you something. As far as I know, when Cena and The Rock faced each other, or when they were both presented on Raw or whatever, you knew they were both going to be there and they're going to both interact with each other. That's what interested people, to be honest with you, more than the entire show itself. That's true. So I could definitely see it like that. Like if I felt the same way for Nakamura, then I would agree with it.
And by the way, they sold WrestleMania because you could not buy tickets a year in advance. So whoever bought tickets, they bought tickets for Cena and Rock.
Right, based on both of those guys alone, that's what sold the show, and that's what made that WrestleMania the biggest, I think, ever that everybody's paying attention to. But Nakamura, like I said, Nakamura is still his first fucking pay-per-view. I think we got to take it easy a little bit because, listen, I seen the NXT guys come to the main roster, and they come up in a big way, and next thing you know, little by little, what the fuck's going on? That's why I don't want to be saying all this. I don't want to jinx it myself, saying this guy's great.
Yeah. Nakamura is great. I just don't like how they're booking him. Honestly, as of right now, I don't think it's strong. It's not a strong off the gate debut he's been doing the last couple of weeks.
That I definitely agree with.
And that's what causes when you start booking the people these top guys the wrong way. That's what causes little issues and shit that determining their downfall.
Unlike Sammy or Bailey.
And listen, and Sammy was a perfect example. I said it before. Right. Sammy was NXT. Sammy was that fucking Daniel Bryan from NXT. Right. He was such a big deal.
He's at that point right now, though. If you realize that.
I know.
When he's a joke of JBL's, even though we know that JBL's a bully, but when you're able to joke on television about Sami Zayn like that, it gets in people's heads. You know
Everybody does
that
though with Sammy. Everybody, even his best friend does that shit.
But you can't do that and expect him to evolve in the future. You know what I mean? If you got people in your own company that's putting him down. Hold on. If you got people in the company that's putting him down, that's really gonna stick to fans' head. They're gonna be like, well, maybe he is a joke. You know, hey, I don't like him no more.
But listen, that's what I'm saying.
The JBL joke didn't offend me because of ISIS. It offended me because of Sammy. Because here's a guy that happens to be the lead commentator of the show that Sammy is on. And even if JBL was strictly joking, like O said, that gets in people's heads. You're joking about a guy who's kind of not winning matches, who kind of was at the tail end of the Raw side, he was a jobber, and then he comes to SmackDown and he's a jobber for Jinder Mahal. Okay, let's be real. Sami Zayn should not be in anyone's imagination be losing matches to Mahal.
And that's my main thing. It's just look, when he came to the main roster, he was interested. Everybody, even me, I was like a hype because he came out to fight. I think the first time he came to Raw was when he fought John Cena. He got injured for that match, but everybody was hyped. I was hyped, man. Then he finally came to the main roster, and it was a big deal in the beginning. But little by little, he just started fizzling away, and because of the way he booked him,
after the Owens feud, which that had passion because they work with each other, they know each other, and etc. After that feud, Sammy went nowhere, and he went to SmackDown and went nowhere. And then you add that with JBL on television making a joke about Sammy. That is the worst thing that you could do to him.
And on top of that, did you in the segment that they did with him on last night's SmackDown, they did the same exact thing on Raw once.
Dude,
and I remember they did that shit.
The guy last week lost to Mahal. Now, I understand that Mahal's the number one contender. And if you need Mahal to beat somebody, dude, pick Apollo Crews or whoever, why Sammy? I don't understand that. That leads me to believe that they don't really they're not going to go anywhere with Sammy, at least for the time being.
Look at the segment that's going on.
But am I wrong saying that he was just like Nakamura was on NXT?
That's what I was going to say, is that unlike Sammy or unlike Bailey, Nakamura is not going to be affected by it.
To capitalize on a point you just made.
Word on.
Yeah.
It's put this way: it's not going to be a Bo Dallas.
It's not.
Oh my God!
Hold on, but somebody in the back. It seems like it is going to be like a Bo Dallas, because look at the segments that they're doing with Sami Zayn. Even though I like it, I think it's funny how Sami Zayn is closing his eyes and imagining things, and then like AJ and Randy Orton just leaves him there thinking while he's trying to talk strategy. I think it's funny, but it's kind of playing kind of close to what they were saying about him in the real life. What JBL said. It's almost like they're playing him in storylines. They make him like a joke.
I will say, I don't think Nakamura is going to be afflicted by that. I don't know if you saw the video. The people that were entering, and granted, it was the UK, and those fans are awesome, but they were singing Nakamura's song down the street, the entire crowd. It wasn't at the arena, by the way. It was down the street.
But they do the same thing with Fandango's music. I mean, come on, you know what I mean?
I was just gonna say they used to do the same thing with Fandango. They did the same thing but they also did the same thing with what's his name? We were just talking about him, Sami Zayn.
You know what I'm saying? But it's not going to be the same. He has a reputation already. I mean, for most people, he has a reputation.
I just hope. Listen, anything is possible as long as they book him the right way. He'll be fine. If they start booking him the wrong way,
this tells me. I mean, other than the Dolph Ziggler segments, the fact that they're only putting him on the pay-per-view, they're going to book him the right way. In that sense.
I want him to be the top guy there, or at least one of the top guys, because I do want to see a match with him and AJ. I don't want to see a match with him and AJ when he starts dwizzling and they don't know what they're doing with him anymore. And then that interest isn't going to be there.
That's going to be a great.
Really don't.
If y'all didn't see the one in Japan, y'all got to see it. And if they could do anything even close, remotely close to that in WWE, I'll be staying tuned.
I think they will. By the way, I do. I don't think it's going to be as brutal, because of WWE. But and the other thing I wanted to talk about, by the way, was Vince McMahon tweeted "Happy Birthday" to John Cena, but he called John Cena the Babe Ruth of the WWE, and a lot of people, believe it or not, got offended by that statement. Because everybody knows who the Babe Ruth of WWE is. That's Hulk Hogan. And I thought that was a little bit of an insult, to Hogan. He's not your new favorite. He's not your favorite toy anymore. So now you have a new favorite toy, but that shouldn't negate what Hogan did.
He's a racist. So that's what they're going to keep him as, and that's why they're doing it. Well, that's why he probably said what he said.
Yeah, but they're going to bring him back. I mean, it's already been talks. They're trying to bring him back.
In reality, the way things are right now, do they really need Hulk Hogan? Is he really he's going to pique interest in watching?
Hold up, but it's not about needing him. It's about he should be there. I mean, come on. After everything he did for that company, come on, bro.
I agree, but what I'm saying is a lot of people.
By the way, both a good point. The fact that they are going to bring him back and they will bring him back, that tells you everything that you need to know about the fact of who the real Babe Ruth is. Because, like you just said, they don't need Hogan, but they're going to do it because he's Hulk Hogan.
Exactly.
If TNA had the capabilities of having and bringing back AJ, they would do it in a heartbeat. Okay, so AJ is TNA's Babe Ruth. Hogan is WWE's Babe Ruth. You don't call someone else a Babe Ruth because you're on the outs with them and shit like that, because Hogan's coming back. We all know that. I mean, eventually.
I was going to say, there's been talk of Hogan coming back for the last 6 months, though.
Yeah, he'll be back, though. He'll be back. There's no question in my mind that you're going to hear that music at some point, and there's no one that we wouldn't be talking about Nakamura or AJ or John Cena if it wasn't for Hulk Hogan.
That's true.
Actually, that's a fact. That is a fucking fact.
That's a pure, unadulterated fact. I mean,
I agree, but I think Vince is at the point where I think Vince is at the point where he just, he's had issues with Hogan also.
Yeah,
it's not like they've been best of friends and shit. And but I believe he.
Yeah, but those issues is old though. Those are not.
Yeah,
recent
they're old.
issues.
But always remember this: Vince is one of those. Just like you could see how he treats certain guys that come in after a while, and all of a sudden.
Yeah, that's true.
You know what I'm saying? He holds that still, no matter what. This is a little.
Listen, Hogan. No. Hogan was in a pretty good position before they got rid of him because of that racist thing. I mean, he was, like the spokesperson around the world.
Yeah,
he was going different. So it's not. I don't think Vince McMahon having a grudge with Hogan is the real reason why. You understand?
I'm not saying he has a problem with him, but always remember.
And by the way,
his face doesn't mean everything's 100%.
Yeah, that's true too. But let me just say this: WWE, they didn't separate themselves from Hogan because of his racist comments, in the sense that they felt that it was racist. They did it for PR purposes. They did it because they had to. You telling me that we all know that the WWE is rampant racist? Okay, they have a history of it. So the fact that they're singling out Hogan for what he said is so hypocritical to me, because that's been going on for decades in the WWE. They had to fucking separate themselves because in the world that we live in today, it was a media storm. It was a shitstorm. That story was everywhere. So WWE was like, oh shit, he's not with us anymore. But it wasn't because they had a stance on racism. I hate when people think WWE took a nice, good little stance on racism. No, it's not.
No. I know that for sure. But I'm just saying. I mean, he probably at this point doesn't really care. And
I think Titus O'Neil is a great example of that.
Yeah, if he brings Hogan back, it's just to bring him back because he could draw some kind of interest. But like, wrestling has definitely changed. You could see that even Goldberg couldn't bring back a lot of those old.
No, he did bring them back. He just didn't understand how to do it.
Yeah, but like it's just
no, because he brought ratings the first night.
Yeah, but then after that, it wasn't the same. Listen, like I said, wrestling is different, and probably those people that came back saw him and was like, "Man, I'm not even feeling this anymore. What the fuck am I doing?" You know what I'm saying? Like I was a little kid, I used to watch. Yeah, like I remember I used to like him because he used to yell, well, "This is weird. I'm out of here."
Why is he talking like that? No, but Hogan, but the mere fact that they would bring Hogan, even though they don't need Hogan, tells you who Hulk Hogan is. that's the kind of thing I'm saying. It's like Hogan is such a part of that company that they would still bring him back, even though they really don't need to bring him back. I mean, realistically, they don't need to bring him back for ratings. Nobody besides The Rock, because he's a movie star, a massive movie star right now. Other than that, nobody's really going to bring in ratings. I don't think.
I believe the ratings.
You said something about the.
Wait, hold on. Before we jump into anything, I think the rating things is. I think it's really long gone. Even football, whenever it gets high ratings, it's due to the fact because it's Super Bowl season or whatever the fuck it is. NBA, that's when they get ratings, really the highest ratings. But now, due to the fact that I said this before, everything's online. You know what I'm saying? Everything's changed. And look, WWE did the right move by putting things on the network because that's where they're gonna see a lot of difference from actual TV to actual fucking network.
But
streaming, because if they were to broadcast Raw on their network,
yeah,
they get all the revenue.
Yeah,
that shit. They control all that shit.
And by the way,
that they won't make all that money there more than they're making now on a fucking USA network. I believe they'll make.
The reason why they wouldn't is because of the commercials. That's why.
Well, they'll have those commercials. Those advertisements will want to pay them to have.
Yeah, then yes, if they do that. But I don't think they would if they strictly put it on the network. You're not going to see commercials. Not like the way we see them now.
Listen, they can do it. If you notice that if you watch YouTube, a 5-second video is a commercial. That starts before the video. They make YouTube.
That's what they'll do, but you won't see a match commercial. You won't see that.
All they gotta do is advertise things on their show. They could have the fucking Coca-Cola bottle on their fucking desk and say, "Oh, I'm thirsty. Give me that Pepsi, Bob." So,
by the way, even though the ratings aren't what they were, and that's long gone,
never will. They never will.
They still have good ratings, though. I mean, 3 million people watch Raw. That's a lot of people. I don't know if, it's not what it was in the Attitude Era, but 3 million people, that's more than a lot of shows get these days. And I think a lot of other shows are way more affected by social media than WWE is.
Well, that's the thing. I think, like I said, everything's online. Everything is, you can watch it when you want to watch it. You don't have to watch it exactly at 9 o'clock. Back in the days, you had to sit there and wait until that show starts.
By the way,
we have that capability. You're not doing that shit now.
Did you watch that Bring It to the Table?
I did, yeah.
What did you think of? Well, since you didn't see it, one of the things that they brought up was Sheamus said that this era is better than the Attitude Era.
Yeah.
What?
And that's what he said.
Wrestling wise.
Action wise.
I didn't say that.
Action wise. In the ring wise, they're better than what the Attitude Era was.
I think that for sure, but Sheamus didn't say that though. Sheamus just said, that. Oh, he said that this roster is better than the Attitude Era's roster. And JBL went off, of course, because he was a part of that. When he broke it down.
He was such a big star.
I know. especially at that time. But for sure, I can tell you, because I've watched that era, and Byron, I'm sure you did too, the wrestling today is 10 times better than it was in the Attitude Era. The characters are not better.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I was going to say, the wrestling might be better nowadays, but for some reason, I was way more in tune than the Attitude Era, man. I mean, I couldn't wait to the next Monday on Raw to happen to see what was going to unfold.
Storyline-wise, the Attitude Era brought so much to the table.
And I'm sorry, but you know what? all right, maybe action-wise, maybe as far as for the wrestling, but I felt like as far as for all-around action, I felt like the Attitude Era got it. I mean, it was more things going on. The Nation, the Nation fighting with DX, the Boricuas getting involved, the Union and all that. It was just so much going on around that time that there was no dull moment. You know what I'm saying, during that 2-hour show.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Especially when Austin became champion at WrestleMania 14. From that point forward on Raw, it was nothing but action, suspense. You couldn't wait. Not only could you not wait for the next week, but you couldn't wait for the next segment. You know, like you would watch the segment and be like, I can't wait for the fucking commercial break. And don't forget that Nitro was also on at the same time. So we really had, nonstop stuff going on at that time. So in that sense, Sheamus is dead wrong as far as characters, because he's saying that the roster is better. But maybe technically the roster is better in pound for pound. I mean, you fucking have AJ, Nakamura. You have all the top guys of the last 10 years in the fucking WWE right now, with the exception of a couple of people that are still not there. But this roster is amazing. I'm not going to deny that. But let's break it down. I would tell Sheamus, okay, what about the tag teams? Back then, you had tag teams. Now it's you guys, you and Cesaro, maybe the Bullet Club, because they're iffy every now and again. You have the Hardys who came back, and they, by the way, are from the Attitude Era, so you can't even technically say that they're from this era. Just that alone, you had tag teams back in the day, like O said, the gangs, the factions, the tag teams. So, wrestling-wise, though, we would never see matches like we're seeing now. You would not see AJ Styles and John Cena and Bray Wyatt a couple of months ago, that triple threat match that they had. You would have never seen that in the Attitude Era. Never. Not that kind of match. But
Sheamus is, I don't know what the hell is wrong, but of course he's gonna be biased. I mean, he's in the roster right now,
and that's what JBL said. He said he should say that.
He's not gonna say, "Hey, I'm in the roster now," but back in the days, y'all were way better than me, and then he's not gonna say that.
I do agree, though. They did say that we could be in a transitional period where this is the beginning of maybe another good era that we're headed into.
Yeah, but how long are we waiting? We've been waiting for that good era for a long time, man. Because after Ruthless Aggression, it was a wrap after that.
I think Daniel Bryan and CM Punk picked it back up, and then I think it's been okay. You don't think that it's good now?
Not really.
I love the wrestling, the athleticism we're seeing in the ring. There's something missing within the storyline.
Raw has been boring. Raw has been very, I don't know, man. It's just, I don't know. And like I said, I don't think it's because of my age. I thought it was maybe my age, but there's something about they're not. I think it's 3 hours, man. I really do believe it
has to do with that, but I think it's just them booking things over and over the same way every week, having the same guys every week.
But that's what's causing it. I disagree a little bit about the age. I do think a little bit it has to do with the age. I know, because I can't. You cannot feel the same at 12 as you do when you're older. There's no way you can say.
Of course not. Of course not.
I'll put it like this. My son,
Attitude Era. Back then there was grown men, 40s that was tuning into that because they loved the edginess. You understand what I'm saying? Nowadays, see, back then when the Attitude Era was going on, you could go on the streets and say, "Hey, I'm a wrestling fan." Nobody was gonna laugh at you because everybody was watching it. Now you say that, they're gonna laugh at you because it's like, "Yo, dude, like, why are you watching this stuff?"
Really? I mean, I put it like this: my son watches wrestling the way I did. He thinks that this, he in other words, like I'll try to buy him a Randy Savage, and he doesn't want to hear it. He wants Finn Balor, he wants fucking Roman Reigns, he wants Braun Strowman. In other words, to him, this is the best era because he's growing up in this era. So he doesn't, really dig. He does dig the Attitude Era, but prior to that, not really his thing. So to my son, he's watching it like we used to watch, or I used to watch it. I can't. There's certain matches, yes, that I can be like, wow, that was a beautiful match or something like that. But I can't watch it the same way I used to, or even the Attitude Era. I forgot how old I was, but I was a lot younger. You know, I think when you're getting older, you're like, this guy's phony, and this guy's not talking well, and you start nitpicking at everything, and like Braun Strowman or me with Jinder Mahal, like I probably would have not done that 10 years ago, but now I'm like, these guys, Randy Orton with his boring monotone voice, so I'm
so sick and tired of Randy Orton. I'm so so tired.
I think I'm done. Just like with him and Bray Wyatt.
The biggest problem that I have with this era is that back in the Attitude Era, if somebody was getting booed like Roman is getting booed, they would turn him heel. That's what they would do back then. Now they don't do that. Now they ignore. We saw it with John Cena for still going on. I was going to say a couple of years ago, but it's still going on. So we've seen it for like 13, 14 years with John Cena. Do you really think Roman's going to be any different? That's the biggest difference, in my opinion, is that they don't go with the crowd as much as they used to, when the crowd wasn't liking somebody or Daniel Bryan was the last and maybe to some degree the first person who really genuinely changed WWE and forced it. Daniel Bryan forced them changing things because Batista was absolutely headed for that title. And then Daniel Bryan came along and the fans, took over. But other than that, they don't really listen to the fans. And that's what sucks. I wish they would listen to the fans more. Bray Wyatt should be one of the top guys, one of the top characters. But they have fucked him up so much that I don't know. I don't know what's up with Bray Wyatt anymore. I don't know if I can dig Bray Wyatt. And by the way, WWE selling Luke Harper tank tops. Who the fuck would buy Luke Harper?
You'd be surprised.
WWE selling what? Luke Harper?
Yo, the tank top that he wears?
Yeah, the one that looks dirty and stink?
No, the black one.
Are you serious?
Oh. Yeah, like
okay, go do yourselves a favor, save yourself the shipping and handling, the extra $20 they're gonna charge you, go to your local Walmart, and there you go.
No, let me tell you something about that Luke Harper thing. I wanted to say something about that Luke Harper thing, man. God, man, like, what did that guy do that he had to lose to Eric Rowan? First of all, Luke Harper was the breakout star of the Wyatts, man. Yeah. Let's just all be honest. He was the breakout star. Yes, we know Bray Wyatt was, whatever. But Luke Harper was the... What I'm saying is like he lost to Eric Rowan. So are you telling me that they totally lost faith in Luke Harper and they got faith in Eric Rowan? The guy who comes out to piano music? The guy that comes out to a music that makes me depressed when I hear it?
I think you want to sell that mask.
I always said way back in the days when the Wyatts started coming out and they started facing other wrestlers, I used to always say that Luke Harper was my favorite guy when he gets in there because he reminded me of a guy like Sheamus that would go in there and really just go at it with guys, and he would entertain the hell out of people with his matches. It wouldn't be boring matches as long as they can hold their own with him. The thing what they did with him on SmackDown, he must look. I don't know what's going on, but Eric Rowan, whatever his name is not the guy that should have been put over. He's not that guy.
And my thing is, it did nothing for none of them. There was no shock. There was no crowd reaction. It was just it felt like a filler. It felt like a filler.
Where was
this? Was on SmackDown.
Yeah, but like Laura said earlier, we don't really know what the crowd reaction was because that show was probably heavily.
Literally, like on both shows, if you listen to it, it was driving me nuts the entire night, both Monday and Tuesday. Something was different on the audio in comparison to the live show.
I hate that that fake that piped in audio stuff. They used to do it on Wrestling Challenge back in the day when I was younger. Even though I didn't notice it, because I was a kid. But when you watch it now, when you go back and watch any Raw that was taped, because back in the day, in case people don't know, Raw wasn't live every week. It was live every 2 weeks. So the 1 week that it wasn't live, you would hear that audio, and it was just like the most annoying audio in the world. And that's what SmackDown reminded me of last night and Raw. that audio that they pipe in, and you never know what really people are doing or saying. I hate that. I don't know. By the way, I don't know if anybody's checked, because they put Raw a couple of weeks after it airs, and they put it on the network. Has anybody checked to see if they edited that Roman Reigns thing of, especially the fuck part? I don't know if you guys remember when Roman beat The Undertaker, and the next night everybody said, I think it was "get the fuck out" or something like that.
I'm not sure.
I just wanted to know if it was edited.
Probably not.
Well, I mean, probably.
No, I had to.
They had to. But my thing is, what are they gonna do in replacement? But they're gonna thank you, Roman. Then he's gonna be like with the mean face, like. What could they have piped in with there?
Would it really surprise you though if they said thank you, Roman?
No, it wouldn't, because WWE's stupid. Vince McMahon's so out of touch with what's going on. I bet you he thought that was a good idea. You know what? Put the thank you, Roman.
Thank you, Roman. Yo, that's.
And he's gonna say it's my yard after that. But there was two things I wanted to get on. There's two things I wanted to touch on. Did y'all hear the Dave Bautista's interview on Jericho podcast?
No.
Byron, did you hear it?
Something about his dick. Yeah.
No, it had nothing to do about his penis and the size of it. Laura, did you hear it?
No, I didn't.
Well, apparently,
just so you know, Joey. Just so you know, if you don't know or anybody doesn't know, people always ask about Batista's dick size for whatever reason. I don't know what the fascination is with his dick size.
You should. Yeah, did you see CM Punk's tweet about it though? I thought it was pretty.
Yeah.
The fan asked him why he hasn't been doing no interviews, and he said, "Well, I haven't did any interviews because I really don't want to be asked about Dave Batista's dick size because I know exactly what size it is." And I'm not going to tell you. And Batista tweeted him and laughed about it. But anyway, the interesting.
By the way, I think that started because of Melina when she got scorned. I think that she did an interview and she talked about it. I think that's how that got started.
So basically, the main thing that came out that interview was, Jericho asked them, "Do you miss the business?" And normally you would think Batista's gonna say, "No, I'm doing Guardian of the Galaxy. I'm a movie star. I don't need a business." But he actually came out and stated that he missed the business. He would love to come back to the business. He just doesn't like WWE. He doesn't like the direction. He has pitched ideas for the last couple months that he wants to end his career with a program with Hunter. With Triple H. Because now this is him saying because of how it ended. You know how he quit live on TV while they were beefing with the Shield or whatever. Yeah. And basically WWE was like, we'll get back to you. I don't think it's a good idea.
What?
So yes, that's what exactly the reaction of Jericho said. So Jericho was like, "Damn, but you're in a position right now where I don't feel like you need to even ask or beg. You would think they will, welcome you with open arms." And he basically said, "Yeah." And I pitched his idea, and they're just saying, "I don't think it's a good idea." Well, we'll get back to you about that.
The guy has, I believe, the first and now the second last week that it came out, the biggest grossing movie. Outside of the Avengers, biggest Marvel grossing movie, and he's going to be a part of the Infinity War, which happens to have all the Avengers, and then the Guardians will join and what have you. So, granted, he doesn't have like a solo thing like The Rock at the moment, but he's a part of one of the biggest franchises in history. Why in the hell would WWE not be jumping on that? But
especially that they're catering to kid-friendly programming, and exactly. Batista got probably the biggest kid-friendly movie out, and you're telling me you're not going to bring this guy in? And Batista, I have to respect Batista. Batista is brutally honest to say he would love to come back. Is them, and it's just mind-boggling that they would even say, "I don't think it's going to work."
Watched on WWE Network his latest documentary. From when he came back, with Evolution and all that. He was not, we all suspected and we kind of knew that he wasn't happy about the Daniel Bryan thing, but on the documentary, he makes it very clear that he was not happy about the Daniel Bryan. So I thought that he was not happy with them. I assume
because his thing was, he said that when he came back, he had pitched the idea and told them, I want to be a heel. I do not want to be a face because when I come back, they're gonna shit on me. But for some reason they thought that
he says that in the documentary. By the way, he says that.
And like Joey, I thought he was on the outs up until I think it was this week. It was actually just after they did the Bring It to the Table, and they ran a This Week in WWE talking to Batista about Guardians 2. And I'm just like, what the hell?
And by the way, didn't Vince McMahon wish Batista a happy birthday or something?
No, a happy 15th anniversary of his debut of being Deacon Batista.
Right.
Yeah.
So I don't.
That kind of probably tells me that maybe Vince McMahon probably heard the interview and maybe that's his way of reaching out. Hopefully, I don't know.
That's the kind of stuff that I don't believe. Like I don't believe Vince does listen to those kind of things. I really don't. Unless somebody puts him in a room and presses play on something, I don't see Vince McMahon hearing what Batista says or CM Punk when he did his interview. I think they played it for him. That's how Vince McMahon heard the CM Punk. But I don't think Vince by himself goes out and says, I'm going to listen to what Batista had to say about us. You know what I mean? So I can't, that's just my personal opinion. Based on everything that we know about Vince, he doesn't seem like the type that is at his desk watching YouTube or whatever.
He's not going to do it, but I'm pretty sure he has a whole team that's out there looking for stuff like that, and maybe say, okay, inform me when something major is talked about.
That's what I don't think. I don't think he would even say inform me. I think they would inform him, but I don't think he tells people, tell me when somebody says something bad. But
you think somebody didn't come out and say, hey, one of your biggest stars from 2006 said that he really wants to come back, but you're not letting him.
Yeah, I can see that, but I don't think Vince is going to seek that out. I don't see him seeking it out. Like, I need to know what Batista said or something like that. I can see a stooge. I can see a stooge. Hey, you're not going to believe what this guy said. Something like that. But I don't see Vince McMahon telling somebody in a meeting like, hey, keep me informed. Whatever Phil Brooks has to say, let me know. I don't see that. I don't think he cares.
Yeah.
I really don't. I don't, unless it's like something that has to do with like a lawsuit. Oh, by the way, something else I wanted to bring up with you guys, Matt Hardy. Matt Hardy said, I think, I don't know if it was recently. I mean, it had to be recently, but he said that
he went after the new owner.
He said TNA is holding his gimmick hostage. He actually said it.
Pretty much.
I didn't know that was still going on.
TNA is claiming that they filed for copyright on the broken gimmick back in January of this year.
Right.
But if you look at the paperwork, it doesn't have it until I believe they said April, which is shortly before they debuted back in the Fed.
Okay, but if you went after a copyright, if you're TNA and you went after a copyright, that doesn't prove that they came up with it. You know what I mean? Like, how does it doesn't prove that they came up with it, and it doesn't prove that Matt came up with it. They can, WWE, for example, they can go for a copyright. Let's say they go for a copyright for the Dudleys. Does it mean that WWE came up with the Dudleys? We know that they didn't, but they could probably still do it. In other words, TNA, they could go after a copyright, but that doesn't really prove that they came up with the broken thing. I mean, and also Matt Hardy hasn't proven it either. So I don't know how that's going to work.
The thing is too is that you can come up with you can come up with all kinds of ideas. It can be stolen in a heartbeat, and somebody throw copyright, and there ain't a fucking thing anybody can do about it. That's how screwed up the whole system is.
Do you think though that TNA should just let that go? Like what I don't understand.
The reason why I say that because they're not the ones the new owners are not the ones that was even involved in it. Why do they even care?
That's what I was gonna say. Like I don't understand why they or when WWE does it, why they care. We don't want you to be the Dudley Boys on the independent. Like, why do you care? I don't understand that. Like, you didn't even come up with it. I don't know if you know that, but WWE did that to the Dudley. So.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And the Dudleys are only one example of many, which is interesting that WWE is kind of supporting Matt in doing something that they've done 1,000 times to wrestlers. 1,000 times. We've had so many wrestlers on this show talk about that very thing. WWE are actual masters of of copyright stuff, but I don't know, man. Like, if I'm TNA, just let Matt Hardy fucking have it. Like, just I don't understand what they're gonna do with it. They're not gonna do anything with it. Matt Hardy is.
They're not.
I guess for them it's like you're back in the WWE. What do you need it for? You know, I don't know.
Well, the thing is they're doing it purposely just to fuck with Matt, and you know that they're doing it just to fuck with Matt because Matt and Reby and Jeff did not want to resign when they signed the company back over to Jeff Jarrett and whoever the hell else is the main owner of Impact Wrestling now.
So when Matt left TNA, were the new owners there?
It was shortly after.
It was shortly after. They I think their contract had just came up around that time.
So the new owners. Well, how would the new owners even know about all this?
Of course, they're gonna know.
They're gonna watch the product.
When you buy a product, you're gonna know what's the most over thing that's going on at that moment, and they're gonna know who's gonna be on their way out. So I'm pretty sure that's what it was. And they probably figured, damn, just when we buy it, the biggest gimmick, is gonna be leaving soon. So hey, let's stop them from using it. That's all. The other thing I wanted to talk about, I don't know if it's gonna be sensitive to Laura, but I wanted to talk about Charlotte Flair's new pictures that got leaked out. Another victim of hacking. Now, my thing is this: who in the hell has enough time to be behind that computer? I'm gonna hack Charlotte now and jerk off, and you gotta have a lot of fucking time in your hands to be trying to hack all these different people, man. You know what I'm saying? But what you think?
But I don't think that's whoever's doing that. I don't think they think about it like that. Like, to them that is their life. That they wake up every morning and they find ways to fuck with people. That's what they do. So to them, it's what they do. So they don't really look at it like I have no life. Let me see who I can hack today. To them, it's just like let me see who I'm gonna fuck with. And I think personally it's fucked up. I really do.
Yeah, it is fucked up.
I think it's really fucked up.
It's not like Charlotte Flair is known to be. I don't know, man. It is kind of messed up.
On the one hand, by the way, on the one hand it's fucked up. On the other hand, people have to stop taking nude photos and storing them. I'm sorry, but for
the love of God, don't store shit like that on the cloud, on a server, anywhere.
How many times does this have to happen?
But keep sending me those. I don't mind.
How many times does this have to happen before you get the picture? It just happened to Paige. If I'm Charlotte and something like that remotely happens to somebody that I work with, I'm gonna think to myself, "Oh shit, damn! What about the new photos I took a couple of months ago? What
But I think Charlotte was involved in that big hacking with everybody. I don't think it was one of those things like they hacked Paige and then she decided to take nudes and got hacked. No, I think they hacked everybody at once and leaking it out little by little.
Oh, I see.
You know what I'm saying? Because they also leaked out Melina. I think they got a video of Melina or something.
Yeah, I saw that.
Victoria. It's a lot.
The one thing that irritates me, and I actually, I looked it up. I wanted to see because there was a lot of people that were actually body shaming her.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
I was one of them. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there, they were like, "Oh, her boobs are uneven." I'm like, do you not realize that at least 90% of women who have like real tits, all that shit's uneven. If you find a woman who's got straight up even tits, everything measures out properly, they are not real. Those tits are plastic. All right.
It wasn't shaming, man. It definitely was not the boobs.
It was definitely not the boobs.
There's a lack of ass.
Let me ask you. Let me ask you something.
Her butt lifting appointment. She must have missed it.
We talked about this a couple of weeks ago, but where's the line of like? I'm not saying that people weren't body shaming her. Obviously, I saw that. In all seriousness, but where is the line of body shaming or saying that phrase or making a comment? Why is it that it's always the extreme now? Like if you like the JBL thing is even though it is bullying, but you know what I mean? Like everything, like if you say something or if you treat someone bad, it's immediately bullying. Or if you say something about somebody's body, it's immediately body shaming. Why can't it just be a comment? Why can't I mean, what happens to those days where we would look at something and be like, I don't like it, or I like it, or whatever? It's always the extreme version of everything nowadays. Because there were people that were body shaming, but there were also people that were just making comments of what they saw. And that's a natural thing. Like, if you see a naked photo of somebody, you're gonna pretty much make a comment, one way or the other. I don't know if everybody was body shaming Charlotte though. People were making comments, and some of them were pretty bad, and some of them were comments. But they lumped everybody into body shaming. Everybody was body shaming her, and I don't think everybody was body shaming her. I think people were just making comments. Just like if you do funny videos, you're not bullying somebody, aka Shaquille O'Neal, who got almost fired for that. I just think everybody's getting to the extreme these days. If I like rib O, why can't it just be called ribbing? Why am I bullying O? Like, you know what I mean? Like, today it would be called bullying. Like, I would be bullying you, or Byron would be bullying me, or whatever.
I think the way the world perceives a lot of stuff now, because everything, we're trying to get away from being at this extreme of where, we don't know where the line is anymore of what bullying is, and where it's just having good fashion grip.
It's the same thing. By the way, it's the same thing with making a racial comment as equated to being a racist. It's the same thing. Like, now you're a racist. Before, it was just like you would be making a comment or you would be making an observation. Now, if you say something, you're an automatic racist. That means you hate an entire race of people across the globe. Like, I don't think people understand what words mean anymore. But anyway, I'm sorry.
I think what it is with JBL, to be honest with you, everybody knows that he is a Republican. So they automatically will just throw him in, saying, "Oh, he's being a racist towards Sami Zayn." I think that's where that is coming from.
No, but he's a genuine bully, though. He's a genuine bully.
But he's also old school, so it's just like...
That's true.
And there was another thing I wanted to say. I know this is not Joey's part of the fucking favorite part of the show. There was something about TNA I had to say. Or two things, actually. One, Matt Sydal had a great match, opening match with... honestly, I don't even know who that guy is. I'm not even going to say him live. It was a really good match. But this guy they got over there named Congo Kong, oh my God, he looks disgusting. Who was the one in this show that liked him? It was you, Laura?
Actually, it was me. Sean. Both me and Sean know the guy. His name is Steve. He's actually a really, really nice dude, and he's been in the independents for the last for about the last 7 years.
Damn. So maybe I shouldn't say what I'm gonna say, but my God, he just looks horrible, man. He looks horrible. I mean, honestly, he looks bad.
I'll tell you how he got his spot.
I think it's said he looks disgusting, but that wasn't what he was gonna say.
It's like that's more or less. It's just he's so rotund and flat.
He's always been that big. He's always been that big, but that man can move in the fucking ring, though. I'm not even kidding you. Give him an opportunity to actually go back and watch some of his older stuff, the stuff that he has on YouTube. Go back and watch that. The reason why he got brought into TNA is because he was the Global Force heavyweight champion.
But he just looks so. They're trying to make him look like a Kamala / Umaga type of character, but he's so he's flabby all over the place. I'm not feeling it. He just looks like he looks like a I don't know, man, a really bad independent wrestler, like a heavyweight champion of a low budget independent wrestler. It just looks bad, man, and I'm not feeling his character. And I had to say it because I know somebody here in this show liked him, and it looks bad. He has a nice little rolling senton, he does in the corner like Kevin Owens does, but I don't know, man.
The cannonball?
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, that's what it's called, the cannonball. He has a nice little cannonball, but that's about it, man. He doesn't look scary. Well, he's really rotund. It was skinny.
What is he doing on the show?
He's supposed to be a monster. He's He's supposed to be like the new Abyss of the show. Like, he's supposed to be out there. He's supposed to be scary, but he looks horrible.
But who's he feuding with?
Nobody. He's just going through people, but it's just you got to see it, man. You have to see it.
I've seen him. I've actually seen him.
And what do you think? He doesn't look.
To be honest with you, I never gave it a second thought. To be honest, I mean, I didn't think one way or the other.
I was high. I was watching it, and when he came out, I was laughing. I was like,
okay, then that explains it.
I was like, what the hell is this, man? You know, like he looks like a fan of a wrestler who in his 40s who just became a wrestler who's really out of shape. Looks bad.
I've watched stuff while I'm high, and I watched it the next day like sober, and I'm like, whoa, I didn't see that the right way. Like, you know, I've had that experience. I don't know. I like I said, I've seen him, but just like everybody else on that show, like I just don't care. You know, like
I just had to say that. Like that's supposed to be the new guy. And then another thing I wanted to say about that show is like all the Global Force Wrestling Championships, they're changing hand on Impact, and they're making it such a big deal. Like that fucking title has so much heritage and so much meaning to it, man. It was just laughable.
So who's the champion right now? Do you know?
No, the champion of Global Force Wrestling is who's Mickey James' man again?
Oh, Magnus?
Is it Magnus? Yeah, it's Magnus, right, Laura? That's the Global Force champion?
I think
she hates TNA as much as I do, so I don't think...
It's Magnus. He has short hair, right?
That's right, man.
No, I thought this was going to... I thought Magnus... wait, is he... I didn't even know he was still there.
Well, I know these are probably recorded episodes, so yeah, but it's Magnus, if I'm not mistaken, so... Yeah, it's pretty bad. The wrestling is pretty good, but the segments are hard.
Are they going to merge the TNA title and the...
Yeah, eventually that's where they're going. But it's just the fact that they make it a big deal. Like, oh my God, he just won the Global Force Wrestler Chase. It's just laughable when you hear it. Like, there's no lineage of that title, and you're making it such a big deal about it. So,
by the way, during the Andy Kaufman movie that Jim Carrey was in, the Lawler parts of that movie, that's what that company was called. It was called Global Wrestling Federation. Even though that's not what it was really called in real life. Obviously, that was Memphis back in the day. But in the movie, I just found that, I watched it the other day, and I found that interesting that the global, you know, that it was GWF. And it just reminded me of the Jeff Jarrett thing. You know, even though that's what I think it should have been called, but I think they might have that covered or something like that. But that's hilarious, though. Like, what is TNA going to do? Not hype it? I don't know.
I mean, don't hype it like that. Like, it's such a fucking like it's the NWA championship. You know, like it's pretty bad. But you know, the show is, you know, they're trying. The segments are still hard. Brother Love is still bad.
That's exactly what they're gonna do when this guy, if he gets a television show for the NWA, that's what they're gonna do. They're gonna hype it like, oh my God, he won the NWA title. Like, you know.
Harley Race won that title. Instead of bringing up a bunch of people that don't even know is still around.
Flair, Dusty Rhodes, and now Paleface.
Yo, I can picture it now. They're gonna show all the fucking stills, like pictures of Ric Flair and Harley Race in the beginning of the first show. like it's really the same title.
And now Metalhead is the new NWA champion.
Congo Kong is the new heavyweight. No, I'm sorry, go ahead.
That's an awesome name, by the way. I think.
The what?
I like Congo Kong. The name.
I don't like
He's had that for years, man.
You know, it sounds so 80s. Congo. Speaking about the 80s, by the way.
He's not only
he looks like 80s, definitely
indie. This is the one thing I love about Congo Kong. He has not only wrestled for more than just indies. He's also a JCW boy. He's got Jeff Jarrett's attention, obviously, with coming in and being the Global Force champion and coming in. Now they brought him into TNA. He, to the point where he actually, from what I understand, left his regular job. Wow. He's wrestling full time now.
I need to ask you guys. I didn't watch Raw before I forget. Because they brought this up on Bring It From the Table. Is Titus O'Neil the manager of Apollo Crews?
Yeah, that's what it looks like right now.
That's another thing we got to talk about.
But they were not on Raw. That's the funny part. They were not on Raw.
They talked about it from bringing up to the table. JB brought up a good point. Like, how can you buy a guy that's the size of Titus O'Neil managing a guy that's the size of Apollo Crews? How can you buy that? And it's such a good hard. Point.
And that's why it's not going to work. But Titus O'Neil, did y'all hear about Titus O'Neil? About him supposedly getting sued?
Getting sued. It was for they were doing the swerve thing where they get shocked in the chair, and the cameraman set him up, and he ended up punching the cameraman.
He ended up he didn't know he was getting swerved, so they said something about the cameraman was supposed to shock him or something like that. So I don't know if Titus, with a quick reaction, kind of hit the cameraman's hand. Now, quote unquote hand. That's it, just his hand. And now that the cameraman is actually suing him for $1.5 million because suppose he did damage to his hand.
Wow. I honestly, Titus, I am very surprised that he still works in WWE.
He has taken more L's than Meek Mills, man. I mean, that's bad.
For real. I'm really surprised. I'm really genuinely surprised. And that's why, when he gets released, because he will.
No, but you know why I think he's going to get released because of this? Because just last week he had a little bit of heat in WWE because he decides that he wants to post up pictures of Braun Strowman and Roman Reigns sightseeing, having a great time after they just had a bloodbath on Monday before that. What the hell?
Can I say something? Two things about that. Number one, Titus is an idiot. Number two, why I don't understand why WWE would be mad about that, but they're totally cool with on documentaries talking about how this is a character and blah 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 blah. They're contradictory. If you're gonna be upset about Roman and Braun's pictures, then go that direction. Then keep it like that. But don't do both, where you're getting upset at the pictures, but then you tell people, don't get too worried about Roman Reigns getting in the, beat up in the stretcher. It was only, his character that got beat up. You know what I mean? They're contradictory to themselves. And that pisses me off. It's I would hope that they would go that direction where they protect the fucking business, but we all know WWE doesn't protect the business. So why are you getting upset? Still, Titus O'Neil should not have done that. And this guy, I think he's looking to get fired. Because that's just an idiot move.
Well, the swerve thing is not his fault. If you don't know you're getting swerved, and and you decide to do that.
Sorry about that. When I saw that, I was like, uh-oh. Titus O'Neil has now a clock on him.
And then it's everybody is out of character except Matt Hardy. He's doing the broken smile, which I thought was hilarious. And Braun Strowman and Roman Reigns, they're having a great time and, sightseeing with each other. It's fucking hilarious.
I don't know, but you understand what I mean? WWE gets mad at that, but then on their documentaries, they talk about it, so the cows come home. It's just, I don't know. It's stupid. But yeah, Titus O'Neil being Apollo Crews' manager, I don't even know what to say about that. I haven't seen it, but they brought it up, and I think that's stupid.
And just like Byron,
yo,
what up?
You don't have nothing to say about Titus O'Neil or
Congo Kong, nothing.
What do I have to say about Titus O'Neil?
Yeah.
Well, I said it last week. I mean, yeah. What are they thinking? I don't know. I don't know too much. It doesn't interest me. I think it's funny that he's looking for Apollo Crews is looking to a guy that hasn't really done anything to make himself a big star, and he's looking for him to make him a big star. I don't know. I think that's the part that's funny. Other than that, I'm still not interested.
But also their size, like JBL said, how are you going to manage somebody that you're bigger than? I don't.
Yeah, honestly, Titus O'Neil, I think could have been a star. I just don't know what WWE was.
Yeah, it's too late for that, man.
It's just booking him also the wrong way. Just wasn't, the only thing that. How did
we know what happened. We know what happened with Titus.
Yeah, but how did they pick Darren over Titus, which I never understood when they broke up? I never understood that because Titus has the look.
I think it was a lot to do with the fact that it was a big story that Darren was gay. WWE wanted to capitalize on that. and they wanted to make it seem like they were so cool with that, but we all know they weren't. And Jarrett is where he was always meant to be.
Exactly. He actually won a couple matches after he came out the closet, and nobody cared.
It was a PR stunt, by WWE. They wanted to be like, "Hey, we accept everybody."
And I remember we talked about that on the show. I remember that they did all that shit purposely just to make to draw that heat they were gonna catch if they were gonna job this guy out.
Yeah.
Little by little, they fizzled them out though.
And we got to talk about two injuries that happened, just in case y'all don't know. One is just like I had said, I think it was last week. Sean didn't know, but Ember Moon is injured. I think she has a shoulder
she's out.
And she's gonna be out.
She's out of Takeover.
She's out and about.
And Emma again, such a bad luck for Emma, man, because she just
I feel horrible for her.
Then they had weeks of buildup of this Emelina character. She gets in trouble because, she didn't embrace that character. They bring her back on TV, and 3 weeks in, she's injured again. Now she has another shoulder injury, or a shoulder injury, I should say, during the UK tour.
You know what? Listen, man.
And she was a breath of fresh air in that division. I'm sorry. I
honestly, from what I heard about her, not everybody was into her because of her look.
Who?
Because of the red eyes and all that shit.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I told you that my friend knows her, and he was like, that's not who she is at all.
Right. No, I'm talking about the girl from NXT, though. The girl with the red eyes, and she got injured recently.
I'm talking about.
Yeah.
My friend knows her, and he was like, that's not who she is, and she's not going to work. It's not going to work like that.
But eliminating that one girl from that what is it, a 4-way that they're having? At the pay-per-view it was
supposed to be a fatal 4-way match for the NXT Women's title, and now she is out.
They really honestly don't need her because the star there is the Asian girl.
By the way, 2 more victories and she surpasses Goldberg's streak.
Yep.
Really?
So Joe, you didn't hear about Emma? What do you think about Emma? You don't think that's bad? That's kind of bad.
Wait. She fought how many fights? Wait. She fought how many fights?
Her streak, she's been there for a while, dude.
Wait a second, how many fights has she had? I don't think she's.
I don't think it's fights. I think it's like I forgot what it was, but either way, 2 more victories, she surpasses Goldberg's streak.
But then if it's 2 more victories, that means she's past the 100 and what is it, 170 something victories?
No, it could be the actual real number. Not the WCW inflated number. not added numbers. Not be 70 one week and then 103 the next week.
What's like what? Wait, what?
I don't like talking like this because I like Goldberg and you guys are making me talk.
Nah, but Goldberg, listen, I think I told you that his little speech that he gave was very he won me over with that little shit that he did. I think I spoke about that. So hopefully he comes back, man. He does his thing. But we were talking about the females. So Emma also is just I don't know if she was gonna make it. Huh?
What happened with Emma?
I don't think
Emma.
You didn't hear she got injured.
Emma, it was a house show match. It was in the UK. She took a corner move and landed so wrong that she fucked her shoulder up bad.
Wow. Yep, and they had to do it the X.
To the point they threw the they threw the X up and took her to the back.
And I was saying it's really unfortunate because she just came out of injury, a back injury. Then they build her up to be Emelina. That didn't work out, and then 3 weeks in, she's done.
Who is she dating?
Zack Ryder.
She was with Zack. She's no longer with Zack.
Why?
For real?
Did John Cena fuck it up again?
Yo, she's fucking hot, dude. She is fucking. But look,
hot. I don't think
with that black lipstick and all that. I love her.
I don't know if she's gonna make it past anything than where she is now. I don't think she has that.
She did at one point. She did at one point in NXT, but I think that when they did that Emelina thing, they fucked with the people to the point where people just threw their heads in the air. They were like, "We don't give a fuck."
and I see that happening to her now. Like if she was getting a push, I think they'll immediately take it away from her.
Remember, she was getting a push, and then she had that stealing incident where she got caught. I think it was by Target or Walmart or something.
Oh yeah, somebody has said that, and I didn't know. She really got caught for shoplifting.
Yeah, while she was at NXT. It was a small thing too. It was so stupid.
It made headlines everywhere, and it was not a good look for WWE.
And she was a WWE NXT star shoplifting at Walmart. Are you fucking kidding me?
It was a complete accident. WWE overreacted, fired her. Everybody said, fucking excuse you. And WWE's like, oh, never mind.
By the way, there's a huge difference between, like, when you say shoplifting, I'm always like, okay, somebody took a TV or something. No, I mean, if it's like a lipstick, would I call that shoplifting?
It was a phone case.
Yeah,
it was a what?
It was a little phone case.
Damn, yo, she is petty.
She's a petty theft.
Can you imagine her going through the ringer and nigga, hey, excuse me, miss, wait a minute, you're Emma and you stealing a phone case? You can't afford this? What the hell?
So she had that incident, and that caused her a little bit of disruption to her flow, and then we just talked about all the other stuff. So it's like Emma's really not been able to like get on the fast track, of success. Because I personally love that bubble thing that she was doing, with that music. At first I couldn't stand it, but then I got into it.
I couldn't stand that goofy dance she used to do when she used to come out with Santino. God, I used to hate her. I hated her back then. When she came serious is when I liked her a little bit more.
That sucks, though. That sucks.
Yeah.
But I think we could probably end this on a good note. WWE announced tonight actually that Brie and Daniel Bryan's daughter Birdie has been finally brought into the world.
Yeah, I really feel bad for him because his name is gonna be Birdie. So
Birdie Joe Danielson, that's her name.
I was like, Birdie.
But
if you look at them,
named your girl a bird.
Those two are hippies.
Yeah.
There's no way of getting around it. They are vegetarian. They're, I think they are vegetarian. They're very, very much tree huggers and everything. So the name does not surprise me whatsoever.
Hey, Birdie.
Yeah. When is the NXT pay-per-view? Do we know?
That is a good question. Give me just 1 second. NXT take over Chicago.
I'm very interested.
I know it's
Hideo and Rude. I'm assuming.
Well, I know. Again, set to do a Roderick Strong and Hideo Itami match for the #1 contendership.
Oh, cool.
Actually, that is the 20th. They are doing it the day before Backlash.
Wow. Oh.
Right now, the matches are Bobby Roode for the NXT Championship. It's Bobby Roode versus Hideo Itami. The triple threat match: Asuka versus Ruby Riott versus Nikki Cross. The Authors of Pain taking on DIY in a tag team championship ladder match. Oh. And the United Kingdom Championship match of Tyler Bate versus Pete Dunne.
Was Tyler Bate the guy in TNA?
I don't know.
But that's cool, though, about the ladder match.
I know he's only 19.
So
he's been wrestling for like 4 years.
That's cool, though. I can't wait for that one. I want to see Bobby Roode and Hideo. I'm really interested to see how Hideo does in a mini-event match.
Yeah, I should. Actually, it looks like a good card. It actually looks more stacked than the NXT before.
By the way, I heard you guys talking about Backlash, but Backlash seems like it's going to be good. I mean, it's Smackdown, so.
I don't even know what matches they have set up for it yet, besides Nakamura and Ziggler.
AJ Owens and Orton and Mahal, unfortunately.
Oh, yeah.
The Fashion Police, I think, against the Usos.
Oh, that's right. Did you see their segment this week?
No. They did one?
Oh, they did a new one before they took on Ascension.
He said, "Ooh."
I had to think that.
I like those guys.
Fandango was dressed up like Sherlock Holmes.
Well, anyway, so before we get out of here, I just wanted to apologize to you guys. I know it took a lot of space, and
hey, you know what? No, it's fun having you.
It was not my intent, to be honest with you. I know people are not going to believe that, but it really wasn't. I just wanted to talk about two things, and then it gets into your blood, man. It gets to your blood. But thank you very much for listening to the show, man. Thank you very much for listening to the show. Yeah, so
I think we're gonna
wait for Backlash and the NXT show, and that's basically it. The man who sits on the floor cannot possibly fall out of bed.
What does that mouth do?